Am I on there?
I gotta go out and come back in.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad. I'm always starting live streams like this. I'll get a hang of it one day. I just try to be original and not fancy or nothing like that because I don't feel like there's any reason to be. But let me just read a psalm before we start. My bad. I'm always starting live streams like this. I'm just going to read Psalm 7. 1 and 2. Lord my God, I take refuge in you. Save and deliver me from all who pursue me, or they will tear me apart like a lion and rip me to pieces with no one to rescue me. Arise, Lord, in your anger. Rise up against the rage of my enemies. Awake, my God. Decree justice. Let the simple people gather around you. While you sit enthroned over them on high, let the Lord judge the peoples and vindicate me, Lord, according to my righteousness, according to my integrity. O Most High, bring to an end the violence of the wicked and make the righteous secure. You, the righteous God who probes minds and hearts. Okay. And once we get started with any questions, but I'm going to read something real quick because you know what's going on around the world. This is some good information sent to me by Brian too. The violent perpetrators in the streets of Los Angeles that were initially stirring up trouble, violence, were mainly government informant provocateurs and perpetrators. Why? Order out of chaos. It's pure Machiavellianism. This was overhyped from the beginning by fake news, mainstream, government talk points propaganda machine to create a false narrative for the purpose generating crisis. This is the purpose of such constant deception manipulation. Okay, it says whenever you see government talking points propaganda machine running the same news story over and over in a looping pattern, then you know for certain it's another government psyop. It's good marketing. They create the need and fill it. Then they go around the back of the house and set it on fire, then go around the front of the house and sell you a fire extinguisher. In short, the government creates or capitalizes on a crisis in order to consolidate control. Television's been the driving force to brainwash the sheepish masses to get them to accept this deception and manipulation. By targeting large segments of a population at a time, the shadow government can bring about race riots, civil wars, regime change, meaning mind control can also be aimed at altering, replacing, or even preserving governments. Anyway, it says various mind control technologies can now be covertly used to influence entire segments of a country's population with the central aim being to influence, reprogram, or repattern that population's value system, belief system, emotions, motives, reasoning, especially behavior. Anyway, I just figured I would share that because that's basically what's going on. But anyway, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, especially
Happy
TI
Father's
fathers.
Day. Happy Father's Day.
I hope that y'all have the best Father's Day you can. As a TI, I know it's rough. So I wouldn't, I'm not a father, and I really think they done that to me when I was a kid. But that's another story for another day. I was going to tell. What was the story I was going to tell them? There was something I was going to tell them that was important. I can't remember, but it was important. It was something that happened with the targeting, wasn't it?
Yeah. I can't remember.
Oh, well, if you remember, let me know.
I will.
There was something important I was going to start this with, but you know how jumbled our mind is. They like to inject thoughts and all this. I found some more. Oh, and if the person's watching who referred me to get the book Psychological Warfare, excuse me, we've both been sick. Psychological Warfare by Charles Reuter. It'll be here. It's going to be here on sometime this week. I did find it. It was a used bookstore. It was like $8. Man, I can't. There was something important I was going to tell everybody, but I can't remember.
Let them know that I'm under Kaylee because of hacking.
Oh yeah, she's under Kaylee because of hacking and stuff going on. Some people are very private people, and there's reasons behind it. I did share something pretty good this weekend. I don't know if y'all were paying attention to it in the post. I'll read that because I think that's important. It was out of a book. In the book, Psychiatry and the CIA Victims of Mind Control, Dr. Harvey Weinstein quotes the following passage from a book entitled A Battle for a Mind, A Physiology in Conversion and Brainwashing by William Sargent. He says this makes sense. They done this to me so many times, and I know any real TI is going to relate to this. By increasing the prolonged stress in various ways or inducing physical debilitation, a more thorough alteration of the person's thinking process may be achieved. If the stress or physical debilitation or both are carried one stage further, it may happen that patterns of thought and behavior, especially those of recent acquisition, become disrupted. New patterns can then be substituted or suppressed patterns allowed to reassert themselves, or the subject might begin to think or act in ways precisely contradict his former ones. If a complete sudden collapse can be produced by prolonging or intensifying emotional stress, the cortical slate may be wiped clean temporarily of its more recently implanted patterns of behavior, perhaps allowing others to be substituted more easily. And, I feel like they done that. Man, they had me, I was bitter. I was angry. Therefore, I was becoming dangerous. And I'm glad I'm not that way. Never be that way. I don't incite violence. I don't encourage violence. Violence is not the answer at all. But yeah, so they had me. I was a nice, loving person, and there for a minute, I had to snap back in reality because I'm like, man, I'm thinking everybody's in on this, and everybody hates me. So I'm like, well, screw everybody. And I was in that mode. And that wasn't a good mode to be in. I'm not proud of it. I'm very ashamed of being in that mode. And I'm not proud of it at all. But you got to watch, because the basic facts is I don't think everybody's in on it, but sometimes it seems real, like 100% of people around you are in on it. Especially when I was at the airport in Denver. And then every now and then you'll have that person be nice to you and snap you out of that everybody's in on it mode. However, I do think they can influence people, especially, I think airports are one of the most controlled places with weapons. I mean, that's where I would have a lot of weapons at, because that's one of the most secure places on earth that needs to be secure. I know they got this, my friend was telling me about this FAST program. Now, I forgot how it was called. It was from Operation Chaos. DHS actually has and this is what I think, how people like, how I can take a bus, so how I can take a train in Atlanta, fall asleep on a freight train, wake up in Shreveport, and then I'm being monitored and followed and all that right when I get in Shreveport off a freight train with my phone battery out. They have this thing they tested out, DHS, and I'm going to be doing a video on it. I've just been trying to figure out how to explain it in a good way. It monitors, when you walk in the airport, they have stuff that monitors your biometrics. It monitors your heart rate, your demeanor. It can tell if you got violent intentions, if you're aggravated. It can tell what state you're in. And if you're in that bad state, it will send alerts out to everybody in the airport to be on alert and watch you. So I think sometimes, especially as TIs, I think sometimes I would go in these airports in fight or flight mode, and the sensor would pick up on me, and I'm a target already, because I'm already nervous as a TI going in the airport. But just imagine if they implement that technology in the airport everywhere else. So everywhere else in the city, your biometrics, your state of mind is being read, and then if you're in fight or flight, like most TIs are, it automatically sends alert to people to watch you. And I'm going to be doing more. I forgot what the FAST stands for, but I had found it and was going to do a video. I did a video on it, and I decided not to post it because I figured I need to explain it better. But it's real technology that was Operation Chaos, if I'm not mistaken. And if the guys watching that told me about it, feel free to comment what the name of that thing was you was telling me about. But anyway, this program, when you go, it tracks people in the airport. Like if you go in the airport and you go through the thing, you're not only getting your body scanned, it's scanning you for facial reactions, blood pressure raising, They want to know if you're a violent person or you got bad intentions when you're in that airport, and they're going to have everybody stalk and follow you if you set that off. Well, of course, every TI is going to set something like that off because we're TIs and we're on the lookout.
We're paranoid.
Yeah, so it's always going to set the meter up no matter where we go is what I'm thinking. They can likely just dial into whomever you're interacting with real time. Yep, they can do that, the sim tent. Now, if, somebody put on their show, and I don't say names because I don't want to blast people, but they said that they're subliminally turning everybody's family against them with microwaves and stuff. I think that's possible, but I think they use more influence mapping and stuff like that, natural ways. Influence mapping, what I mean is if the perps know, say the perps know my mom drinks Mountain Dew and I'm around my mom all the time and she drinks Mountain Dew, it's her favorite drink, right? What they'll do is they'll have all the perps perping me drinking Mountain Dew. So then I start thinking, hold on, my mom drinks Mountain Dew too. She must, you see, influence mapping. And it ain't got to be the Mountain Dew scenario. I'm just saying they use tricky ways. I think if they had as much power as this certain person gives them, it would be impossible for me, Holly, and to live together. If it was that, or maybe some people, maybe that's why we're targets, is we're more, it's harder to mind control us. Because if I got technology and I'm creating technology, I'm not going to pick weak-minded people to use this technology on because there's no sense in doing that. I want the strongest-minded people. That only makes sense. Yours sounds like what they're doing to me, except I don't have the voices. Regarding ringing in the ears, very interesting. People never had tinnitus, suddenly have it, be it the whole family. It's got to be technology. Yes, it is technology, but if it was that easy for them to turn people against each other, the situation I'm in right now wouldn't be happening. So if they could do that with microwave weaponry and weapons, then I wouldn't be in this situation right now, where me and Holly's getting along, and we're living with her family member and stuff. It wouldn't be possible. I start to wonder if the tinnitus that's caused by prolonged exposure to loud noise actually caused solely from the dew. My ringing started when they started the internet. Wow. Okay, I'm
Yes, the ringing is very annoying.
I wish I could send a link. If you go to Malte Martin, M-A-L, well, yeah, I get in trouble for referring channels. Anyway, there's handpan music, and it really cuts down on the tinnitus.
Really,
and
really
V2K.
Nice. Really nice to go when you're going to sleep to turn it on. It really, really helps.
Because, sometimes tinnitus, I don't know about y'all, but, my tinnitus has even gotten bad where I get fluttering next to my eardrum. It's like vibration, a real quick vibration over and over again against my eardrum. But Holly had ocean sounds so bad she couldn't even sleep or nothing. And a person, Lorraine, she referred us to the handpan music, and she was able to get the ocean sounds in her head to go away. But it was severe tinnitus is what it was. Is there any questions you have for us and stuff? We're going to try to make it quick today because we've been really sick and under the weather, but we just wanted to come on and say hi for a few minutes. Some suggest that energy weapons can be mounted on drones. That is possible explanation for my tinnitus experience while driving in remote northern Ontario. I could not figure out the source. I think it's a miracle if real TIs find one another and can live together. Communities way too infiltrated, unfortunately. I agree. You have to use discernment, and then you also, whether you use discernment or not, no matter what, if you let a TI move in with you, you're going to be paranoid of them. Rather use discernment, whatever.
It could be heck for a year. So you just have to be prepared for it because you have to get used to each other and learn to trust each other. And it takes a while. Me
and Holly went through, our first year was teetotal hell, but we wanted it so bad that we fought through our because I don't
Insecurity.
think I wasn't paranoid of her and she wasn't paranoid of me, and we didn't question each other. It was the first year was very hectic as TIs living together.
Yeah.
Hey, June. I pulled over on the side of the highway, no houses around or anything. I walked about 300 meters into the woods. I still had strong tinnitus even out in the woods. Yes, I would say, tinnitus is permanent permanent damage from direct energy weapons. So even if you go to a place where direct energy weapons aren't happening or anything, you're still going to get the tinnitus the rest of your life. I think it causes permanent damage, and that's part of I hate saying the word Havana syndrome. PTS, PTSD. Oh, well, the first year I was here, I wouldn't even. First year I was here, I wouldn't even go up the stairs. I was terrified of my own shadow. I would check everything. I would check. I would question her motives and everything. So then I had to tell myself, look, if I'm either going to run away from this thing like I have everybody who's tried to help me, who's been sincere, or I'm going to just stay in this thing and work through it and tell my mind, hey, I may be wrong.
We worked through it and it worked.
Holly went through like 2 or 3 months accusing me of reading her mind. She had to do little things to test me because she was convinced I was reading her mind. V2K was in Holly's ear telling her bad things about me, saying I was a honeypot, I was setting her up. So all kinds of things happened the first year. And it's still not easy. We still are paranoid sometimes, and
we have PTSD outbursts, both of us at times, but we understand each other, and the most important thing is we trust each other. So that's the most important thing.
And that has to be built. You're not going to just let a TI move in and y'all just hit it off the first 2 months. Y'all getting along and y'all ain't paranoid. That's impossible. And that's just my opinion. So, if you're going to let a TI move in, I would just say, get to know them. Make sure, try to get to know them for a couple months. If it's an emergency situation, you're just going to have to use discernment and fight your sensitization, because they get you so sensitized to stuff that when somebody moves in, no matter if they're a good person and they've cleared your discernment, you're going to start questioning them. That's just how sensitized they have us TIs. They make it impossible to try to link up, and because you're so leery of each other and there's so much infiltration. That's definitely true. Thanks. It was truly a miracle. Well, I don't like talking about it as much, but it was truly a miracle. Because sometimes I feel like, well, I got blessed. Other TIs are suffering. They didn't get that blessing. But I'm trying to do the right thing with the blessing, and that's by help others and bring awareness and stuff. Because I always said if I got a chance when I was homeless on the street to raise awareness of this, I would. But you got to understand, 4 or 5 years straight, I'm on the street, nobody to help me. My parents and family would talk to me and stuff, but how they think, when TIs, they think you're crazy and stuff. But some of my family members don't think so much I'm crazy anymore from what they've seen. However, but just put yourself in my shoes, 4 or 5 years of torment, and I was too scared to stay in shelters. And then sometimes I would stay in shelters for a while, and the V2K, or they would have perps just perping me out of there. I went a lot of places. I was blacklisted, turned down for food by churches. So I'm walking around the city alone, jumping state to state, and then these people are promising to help me, inviting me to their house, perping me. A couple of them didn't perp me, but they flipped the script on me, and then I found myself homeless. But that was my fault. I should have known. I was a young TI then. I should have known that going to TI's houses are not always going to work out, even if they mean well. I'm convinced one person in particular meant very well, but when I got there, they just couldn't handle it. And I don't blame them. So I can't be mad if somebody can't handle it, and I didn't understand that. I was, and when you're desperate and you're a TI blacklisted, anybody who offers help and offers a place to live is going to be tempting to you. So then you get there and it don't work out, and then you've done set yourself back. So really make sure that's what you want if you're moving in with other TIs. Really work it through, get to know each other. if you can and it's not an emergency situation, I advise to get to know each other for a while. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Told I dreamed it all. Huh. Yeah, I tried to show one of my brothers, believe me, and I tried to show, I was told that I was schizophrenic. It was in my head, but there's too much evidence now. Same for Targeted Patton. Oh, hey, Targeted Patton. I watch you all. I've watched quite a bit of your videos, especially the one where your brother. The craziest one I've seen, and I haven't watched them in a couple weeks. This has been a couple months ago, where your brother perped you at Dollar General. That was a trip.
In what?
I've never met a TI that knows they're a TI in E something, just the net. In EL, what does EL stand for? The sim? In real life, just the net. Oh, well, I can, the sim net, the sim tent, I can assure you we're real people in real life.
Hey, Targeted Patton.
Yeah, I was watching that video with you at Dollar General and your brother.
Real life.
Yeah.
Real life.
Yeah. So he's saying he's only met people, he's never met nobody like in real life. He's only met people on the net.
In real life. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people been doing videos with helicopters flying over their houses lately.
Oh, yeah. And we've had the Black Ops helicopters. Yeah, you've got them too.
Targeted Patton says I've met a couple. Ann says sheriff circling. Weird people come. Yeah, we got weird people come to our door too. Especially when I start interviews lately. When I start an interview, they'll come ring the doorbell.
Tell them about the gang members that look like they came to the door and then walked around back.
Oh yeah, I could. Let me see if I can find that video. I might show that video if I can find it. Hold on, give me 1 second, because I got it in my TI evidence. I can go right to it. There's a video showing what these people did. They came up to our door. It was all staged to freak us out. Okay, let's see.
They look like two gang members. They came up to the door.
But there was 3 people involved. The one that drove the car, remember?
Right.
Okay, let's see. And we're going to quit about 12:30, so, you know, if y'all have any questions or anything y'all would like me to talk about, we wasn't going to do it because we've both been sick, but we decided, you know, somebody might be waiting on it and, you know, have questions or something like that. I got to remember what I named the video. Hold on, mine the TI.
Oh, they tried to scare you with a dream. V2K.
Who's that?
Oh.
Yeah, I talked to TI yesterday, whose V2K is totally off the chain, and I hope they ease up on him because, I mean, I've never heard a case of V2K as bad as that one. My V2K I thought mine was rough, but somebody's always got it worse. You better believe that. And they do that on purpose. The spreading the... Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, sorry about that all. How is your latest news now? What's that mean? How is your latest news now?
Okay, now. A big dog run up and get them, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Half hour I waited and kept refreshing and didn't see activity, just saw you were on. Yeah, they try to mess with stuff, A-Light. We're not going to be on as long as usual, but till it's about 12:30. Two neighbors work for aerospace companies. Wow. Well, they're definitely involved. They're in a race war about data right now. And they're saying once all this data gets mined, these corporations are really going to do something with something called AGI. I was watching, and I'm just going to get some more information before I talk about that because I only heard a little bit about it.
Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but my question has been over the past week, they'll use directed energy weapons on us, but they won't use it on rioters who are burning down the country. That makes me sick to my stomach. And that's not really how I want to put it either. They'll use it on us and torture us to hell.
And they
hell
used it in
back.
Sweden or somewhere at a riot, not recently.
Yeah,
You could
I
see
mean,
the whole crowd disperse.
They should have been using it on these people who are burning our country down
Well, you know what? You know why they're not using it?
and hurting
You know why they're not using it?
people.
Because when they roll it out, they're going to roll it out on everybody, and it's going to be scary.
Yeah, well, it's disgusting.
You better look up Palantir. Palantir. All the data that they've been, when Elon Musk was going through all that, what he was doing was data dumping all American information into the Palantir database. So that's everything on the internet about anybody and putting it in files about that person, putting it in categories for the social credit system that's going to come eventually.
There's still another David video page waiting.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand why they do that. I'm going to delete that waiting room right now. It's been doing it every 3 weeks and all 3 weeks, and I don't know why it does that. It's got us a waiting room, and it's got people in waiting room.
June and all, you're on our prayer list. We do have a list, which we pray over each night or almost every single night. June, I hope you're doing all right.
Now, okay. I see. I don't know how. Yep. Basically, they have the tech to end all crime instead used for doing it. Yep. Everyone will be paranoid, probably killing each other because it will be new to them. Oh, it's very new. Jade Helm. I'm gonna write down. You know, it's hard reliving trauma. I was in Jade Helm. A lot of stuff happened that day, but I need to write it down before I do a video about it because if I don't write it down and explain some of these stories, then they're so unbelievable, the stuff they mind controlled me in that day and what happened. I mean, everything from walking a straight line with my arms out like this, thinking I was going to blow up. I mean, it was total mind control. They got weapons that ain't never been used on that. They got weapons in up their sleeve that could really freak people out. I know I experienced it. And after they did all that stuff to me, they had the cop that came and read my blood pressure. Anyway, he took me to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks after that.
I got you, Amy. Got it.
Trump complicit surveillance Palantir, and it's a shame. Yes. You too, Holly and David. Thank you. My name's Amy. Hey, Amy. Targeted patents that hit the like. And Jade Helm was bizarre. I'm in the AGI test group in Arizona. What it means is when you call 911, your call is intercepted and you are talking to them, not the real police. You're sealed into electronic nightmare.
Yeah, that's they intercept your calls a lot. When I had to call a detective to come check my house for bugs and cameras and whatnot, the FBI intercepted my phone call and they sent a retired FBI agent out to sweep my house. Unbeknownst to me, they were FBI, and of course they said they found nothing but one little hotspot. So yeah, they definitely intercept our calls. I've been there, understood.
I know. One little trick to that is, have you ever noticed like sometimes when your phone's hacked, you'll call and you'll need to use the touchpad to put in a number or something like a birthday or something, and the touchpad won't work. Well, or your phone's got one bar. Well, if you'll throw your phone in airplane mode about 4 or 5 times and let it wait 2 or 3 seconds each time, it'll reset it enough for you to make a normal call most of the times. But you got to make the call fast because they'll be right back in pretty quick.
I have to write it down too. What happened there?
Jade Helm was practiced to get the people's reactions to train the system. Well, they got my reactions that day, definitely. And like I said, at the end, what makes me think they hooked me up that day was at the end of the day, when they was done torturing me, I had a police officer come and he had me have my hands up and I'm moving left and right because they're burning me with direct energy. He said, "Why are you moving left and right?" I said, "Because I'm burning." And they said, he called in on a walkie-talkie. He said, "Could you tell me the subject's vitals?" And they told my temperature, my blood pressure and everything. So I think I was hooked up that day because there was just too much psyops that day.
Yep.
Both my kids were made to see apparitions, though went schizophrenic. My son still thinks it was his brain. I can believe that. My phone constantly vibrates off surfaces and falls on the ground. Yeah, they done that to the 3 phones over the last 3 years. When I would set it down, they would make it vibrate. That's why I had to get a phone case.
Amy, you're in our prayers, June Mama. Amy, you're in our prayers.
All
I
right.
hope everything goes well there.
Hold on. Let's write her on the list.
Yeah. What's your first name?
Amy, you're on the list. I'm writing you down right now. We have a prayer list and we with different names. So we don't like, when we tell people we pray for them, we like actually doing it because, if we forget, it just feels
Some
guilty.
people say, I'm going to pray for you, but we really do. So, and all the prayers help.
Do you think that if you do the airplane mode trick when you connect with a tire, do you think you stay connected to the tire, get switched to a stingray at some point? So that's what I think the airplane mode does. I think it switches you off and connects you to the main tire again. But I think as long as they redo the stingray again, it'll make it connect to that stingray. But you can always tell if you're being stingrayed because if you have a 5G phone and you're reading 4G and your bars are like 1 or 2 bars all of a sudden, and it's 4 or 3G on your phone, they're definitely in it. Because what the stingray is basically a fake cell phone tire. So it barely has any strength to give any signal at all. So that's why you're getting 4G and little signal when you're connected to that.
Tiffany, write down Tiffany and Amy.
I got Amy.
Okay, Tiffany.
But yeah, we've been kind of slow answering messages and emails this week because, like I said, she's been sick. We've had a lot of responsibilities to get done throughout the week on here. So please bear with us on that. We're planning on trying to answer a lot of them today. But
A-Light yesterday.
Holly had to really be strong to beat hers. Yesterday and this past week, I spoke to my mother and brother, and they're in on it now. Heartbreaking, but have to face reality. Wish I could ask them, but it won't help, I don't think. On the family thing, they like to really, really turn family against you. They want to turn whichever way they do it, either make you think your family's in on it. And I'm not saying they're not because, I'm not going to comment about my family right now, but I definitely think one of my family members, and I'm not going to say he's involved, so I'm not saying that's not what's going on. I'm just saying make sure it's not a psyop to try to further isolate you, because sometimes it is. And I'm not saying it is at all, or you're wrong or nothing. I'm just saying make sure, because I've seen some TIs who had family who were supportive, but they got so sensitized and stuff that, they shied away from them, and then they came back later, a couple years later, and said, "Man, I wish I'd have never done that. I ruined things."
Got it, Andrea. Write Andrea down on the list. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Tiffany.
Andrea's on here.
We got Andrea. Okay.
Andrea's been on here.
Okay.
I had to move far away from most of my family. Yeah, sometimes that's the situation, and that sucks. I told Holly the worst experience as a TI for me has been the level I'm blacklisted. Like, when I get to town notifications and lies are sent out to the community about me, and everybody's blacklisting's different. Some people can go in. I mean, I can't even go in unless it's the right store. Like usually, I can't even use a food stamp card in a store that takes food stamps. Holly's. I even asked her. Me and Holly were on the phone. This happened 3 or 4 times over the years. Like I would tell her, she'd say, "You want something to eat?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And she would go to this restaurant where one of them was an ice cream place, and she pulled up to get us something. It was like 3 p.m, and they were walking out the door. What'd they tell you?
They told me they were temporarily closed.
We're temporarily closed. And this happened like 2 or 3 times in a matter of 2 weeks. Restaurants don't just close in the middle of the day like that.
June.
Thanks,
Amy.
Yeah. We try our best, and when you're helping people, I'm telling you, if you can find another TI and help another TI, it really helps with your targeting to know that you're helping people. It's just very healthy for you. It's sort of like when I was growing up, my dad was in AA, and he used to tell me, David, you know how I done it? By helping others. Like he would let people come stay on his couch to get sober and stuff. So I was around a lot of that when I was a kid. So it's basically no different than the 12-step, helping other TIs helps you.
Amy, my mom drugged me so they could come get me from the house and ship me.
My mom drugged me so they could come to my house and ship me. And I believe that's possible, and I believe that happened to you because Holly went through something similar.
Yeah, they actually removed me from my home for multiple days. They put me back in my bed on a Sunday in my work dress and my work shoes. So they actually dressed me in a work dress and work shoes and hose, and put me back in my bed on a Sunday. I'd been gone from my home for multiple days. My cats were starving. Clearly the litter boxes had not been cleaned, which I cleaned them twice a day. I had to ask the people at my job how many days I missed from work. And of course they would not respond to me. They would refuse to answer me. And it's just crazy. Yeah, I was chipped. I know that's what they did. They knocked me out and chipped me and brought me back and put me in my bed, and I actually woke up on a Sunday and drove to work on a Sunday, and it wasn't even a work day. It's crazy what these people do. And
you know why they get away with it? Because these stories sound so unbelievable to people who don't know what's going on that they can get away with it. I got a couple things I wanted to share before we go, and we still got a few more minutes. But when dealing with V2K, try not to listen to their actual words. Try to start training yourself to believe it's just a noise, just annoying noise with absolutely no meaning. Try to think of that noise as a radio in the next room and it's got some broadcast that has nothing to do with you, because it doesn't. It truly has nothing to do with you, because everything said is a lie. You are not what they say it is, or you're not what they say or it says. It's just noise. Another thing about the EDM thing. Electronic dissolution of memory, or EDM, is achieved by several mechanisms. First, let's examine the EEG heterodyning option. When two minds are linked through TAMI, or thought and mind interface, every thought is shared. The psychic attacker merely needs to blank their mind when a topic or thought occurs that they want to avoid. The blanking of their mind forces the memory recall of the target's mind to be blocked also. Thought redirection also works. Memories are just inductions of the brain entrainments. If the subject is not trained in psychic defenses, their thoughts will blank also. This is only a temporary mechanism and does not affect long-term memory. A more severe method is used to erase long-term memory. What is nicknamed the deep fryer uses an overstimulation of memory creation to degrade those recalls. Neural network theory predicts that large training sets of data or experiences will exponentially decay earlier memories stored in neural networks. So electronic neuron amplification technology was discovered to have this capability by accident. But of course, everything gets weaponized and marketed into a project for budgeting. The third method of electronic dissolution of memory uses hypnosis and signal coherence changes to erase short-term memory. Along with severe trauma and psychological abuse, These methods are used to try to get a victim to repress and forget their experiences from the experimentation of electronic mind mapping, influence, and control for obvious reasons. They want you to forget everything you're going through, that way you can't tell it. As with testing and experiments, there's probability they won't work on certain minds and personality types. This is what they're interested in and documenting for weapons efficiency. Hypnosis and suggestion to forget with traditional vocal channels has been successfully demonstrated since Sigmund Freud's day. Signal coherence is a relatively new concept. Your brain has natural operating frequencies. If altered, the information is stored in your vast neural network under new conditions. This is called state-dependent memory. It's observable in people who take psychoactive drugs or alcoholics. Memory stored under those mental conditions can only be recalled under the same condition. Hypnosis has been demonstrated to recall memories under the same conditions. Planted CIA paid psychologists popularized this phenomenon as false memory recall. Many children have been subjected to these brutal MK Ultra experiments back in the 70s, 80s, when the memories begin to resurface. Many pseudoscientists of disinformation called them false recalls. Defense lawyers of child molesting priests also latched on this concept for their defense. So, remember when they would say, well, they're false memory recall. They had that. They were saying that for people who underwent abuse as a kid, and their memories came back. Well, it's just a false memory. Well, all that was induced by the EDM weapon, electronic dissolution of memory. Man, your fan base is solid. They're bringing in some good info all the time. Thank you, Analog Mind AM. I've just been at this for 3 years. I was homeless under a bridge when I did my first video, and wanted to give up many times. Anybody who's trying to do YouTube as a TI, I'm giving y'all how to beat the algorithm. I've given it many times. It takes work. You have to enter 50 different groups on Facebook, TI groups.
Fake or not.
Oh yeah, fake or not, because there's real TIs in all them groups. So you're going to post, every time you make a video, you have to take the time to go to each one of them groups and post the link to your video. So that link stays there in that Facebook. So whoever scrolls through the feed, usually real TIs are going to scroll down the feed farther and see the links and click them. So your YouTube's not going to show your videos on the algorithm most of the time. So what you do is, that's how you start out. You start out posting in your videos. Every TI you message them the link. You message it on X, every social media platform, every time you do a video. Now, it's going to take a while, but eventually you're going to start getting hits. And then it's going to build from there. Now, 3,500 subscribers of mine are not real. They prescribed in one day, and they ain't watched one video since. So you have to minus 3,500 subscribers. This is my third year, going on fourth year doing YouTube. So really, me and Brian too was talking. I really probably only have about 350, 400 real TIs, I think, on my channel. And I'm not putting nobody down. That's just facts. If you look at my views, how many people's watching my videos every time. I'm getting into the long-term category. I need to take breaks from being in my apartment or truck or retail stores. Riding my mountain bike is about the only... Oh, that's very... Riding the exercise, they don't want you to exercise. So any exercise is very good. It gets the endorphins going, and it really helps your brain. There are many victims. Most don't. Nick, who is he talking to? They had my dad break me and told me it happened when I was 18. Then they started outward targeting. Wow. See, the level this stuff goes is just, it goes all the way to child abuse and everything. Now, I'm trying to think of something else to share before I go. I posted this the other day. I recommend pressing 2 cloves of garlic when you first wake up. Wait 9 minutes after pressed and eat the garlic. Do it morning and evening. Within a week, your energy levels should be better. And I can't tell you why it'll be better, but due to censorship on YouTube. And Redacted said something the other day. They said that YouTube's getting away from censorship. But I even I seen somebody on Telegram post the White Rabbit conspiracy hole. One of them people posted that, or Disclosure Hub, something like that. One of them people posted that Rumble took their video off. So you know that was a serious video that needed to be watched.
Onions are also really good to eat. That's another good.
Oh yeah, anyway, so somebody commented and sent us an email that onions are better than garlic. They've tried it. So I'm interested in trying it, and I'm going to try it. There's also a new LiDAR system that can ID a face a mile away. So you got to understand, we've been the beta test for all this. We basically brought in facial recognition. It was tested on us secretly, because it's not only reading your face, it's reading your emotions, what state you're in. If you're in an angry state, it's reading all that.
Yeah, my handler used to say, "Holly, don't you know there's facial recognition? Hello." He said that all the time. Facial recognition, Holly. Try to go somewhere and see what happens. Yeah, very true.
All right, I think, what are trolls? Trolls deserve a mention. Trolls is a term for psychological illness where people on the internet infiltrate celebrity groups or any cause, enjoy pretending they're one of the group, creating strife through rumor, spoofing other people's identities. This is an outlet for sociopaths and anarchists. Trolls are experts at getting under your skin, use fake identities because they're cowardly acts that would classify as libel, stalking, and harassment. There's another group of paranoids that hang in the internet support groups that don't have any strategy to fix their situation and think everyone's a troll, agent, or perp. They accidentally do the dirty works to these classifications of people. They have a multivariable large chess game to play, psychological war games. Not everyone understands game theory and just react to each confrontation that they encounter. Only those that see the future and many moves ahead of time can be useful to change the future if they know to change the rules of the game and get out of the Skinner box. The only practical advice is to ignore them. If you're on Facebook, you can report them, but that will just create new accounts. Most troll accounts have very little history and a few friends, and are some clues to avoid friending them. The support groups you can do nothing about and hope the moderator can remove them, but sometimes the moderator falls into the antagonist role. Drama is an addiction for some people. Look how popular soap operas are. With all the signals and pain induced to a target, it's difficult for them not to become bipolar and experience extreme emotions and become overly sensitive to attacks on their character. Strategy is the art of seeing all possibilities, giving your opponent rational countermoves and as many levels as the war game master. The most important skill to learn is strategy, usually learned in a business school, military, or simple games of chess. Psychological warfare games are no different. They know the possible moves you will make and how to silence your voice.
That's good.
I'd like to send some content to upload if you think it won't flag you.
And a lot.
We're fixing to get off here in about 3 minutes. If you'd like to send it for next week's live stream, and depending on what it is,
We'll use it.
email us at targetedtestimonies@pm.me or hollyspunk@gmail.com, and we will talk to you about it. First, they traumatized in childhood. Yep, I was traumatized in childhood, definitely. Then target us as adults. I had weird trauma in childhood too, and I think I was targeted since birth. At 2, I was on the front page of the Washington Star. Wow, why was you on the front page of the Washington Star, if you don't mind me asking? That was A-Light who said that. Toward the Terra said, I got a handlebar foam mount for my bike, so it's like having a dash cam. I should use something more low-tech like an action camera. Yeah, if you can, something that don't connect to Bluetooth. Vitamins help so much. Yes, they do. Very much so. I've had people walking out of their apartments like a scene out of the Truman Show when I rode late at night. They were always holding their phones like it was Pokemon Go or something. That's what I was going to tell you. I was in 2015. I was in a park at 8 o'clock. I was homeless, minding my business, and all these people were in the park. This is when Pokemon Go was just now an app. Well, somebody came up to me and said Michael. Well, I used to go by Michael, but anyway, somebody come up to me and said Michael, and I was going by Michael at the time because I didn't realize they know your name anyway, so you might as well not hide it because it don't do no good. But I was going by Michael at the time on the internet and stuff. So this guy and this girl comes up to me and says, "Gotcha, Michael." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, ain't you playing Pokemon Go? You showed up. We found you." So apparently I was a node on the network, and they were tracking me by Pokemon Go at first. I know that sounds weird. They didn't need to, but I swear they thought I was playing Pokemon Go and came up and grabbed me and said that they got me and said my name. So that was weird. And Pokemon Go, I feel like was a very serious app that helped coordinate a lot of tracking and stuff with targets.
That's the Washington.
5 huge photos of me, and after that I was being stalked by a man my dad chased one night in D.C. Wow, that's interesting. Well, I'd like to hear more about that one day. I definitely need to get as much exercise as possible. Outdoors is the best option. Yes, outdoors is the best option. You're right. I'm going to get there one day. Truman Show on steroid. Thousands follow me worldwide. I've experienced the same stuff. So has Holly. We've been state to state in several occasions, and it never stopped. They use the IoT Internet of Things to access every Bluetooth device, kitchen appliance radios don't have electronic. Get appliances, radios that don't have electronics. She's right. And what I'm telling, we sit at the kitchen table with a chandelier, and the chandelier had LED bulbs, and I swear I couldn't sit there a whole meal. Because I'd get nauseated, heated up, so I'd sit there for like 3 minutes eating my meal and just stand up and have to walk away from the table. So we found some incandescent bulbs on Amazon and replaced it with it. Now I can sit at the table and eat without being burned up with nausea. Accounts I've seen are filled with video game footage. Yep. I want to get outside, but the stalking's so bad it's a toss-up, and I have to build myself up before the house. Before to go out of the house. Yes, same thing here. I went out a couple weeks ago to Chick-fil-A on a spontaneous note. I know the feeling. Oh, my husband doesn't. Well, she's talking to him. I mean her. I think the gamers are mind controlled through the games they played. Most definitely. Unless you're playing retro games. Truman Show's probably a thing. Thinking about the reality. TV shows from the 90s. Let's watch two people I've never met argue about who ate my slice of pizza that was in the fridge. Yes, that was definitely some crazy. Or 16 and Pregnant. All them reality shows were really some kind of programming. I don't know what they are. That's why they call TV programs, because it's programming you.
16 and that's ridiculous.
Unfortunately, the more you move out, the more you get resensitized. You just got to try to deal with it. That's correct. The Sim Tent in program since mid 70s on Long Island here. Sim Tent, I'd like you to email me. I'd like to interview you if you wouldn't mind one day. But if not, I understand. A lot of people would like to remain private. But you said you've been in the mid 70s. I believe you. No telling what you've experienced. Yeah, they did 2 weeks ago. I believe in order to clone me.
2 weeks old.
They did it without my 2 weeks old. Wow. Did it without my mom's permission. Yeah, they went in my spine twice in 2022. One time they said there was to put fluid in me for a CT scan. One of them was to take it out of me because they said that I had an infection in my spine. Now, after leaving the hospital and getting my 45-day stay paid for mysteriously, and then, well, not mysteriously, I signed the paper. It's charity. But what's weird about the charity is usually they'll pay for your stay, but they bought my wheelchair, my walker, and a plane ticket.
Yeah, very odd. Pokemon Go was created by the CIA.
I believe that targeted patent because I'm telling you, it freaked me out when them people just walked up to me and said, I ain't got Pokemon Go nowhere on my phone. And I didn't. B2K from when I was like 5 in 2021 became very bad. I used to think my teachers are watching me at school. A lot of targeting started in 2021. I can believe that. My B2K, wow, like 5 years old. Wow. Yeah, so when I'm working a job, I can't work jobs because they run this scenario where, well, I'm convinced it's real, so I ain't even gonna talk about it because it's not believable by most people, but they really freak me out at jobs, put it that way.
I do work. I just got to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of these people. So I just got to the point where I didn't care. If they want to follow me, follow me. I don't care anymore. I really don't give a damn. And that is how I lived my life at a certain point, because I was sick and tired of it. I was sick and tired of being run off the road, trying to run me into cement blocks. They actually hit me going 100 miles an hour and totaled my car and damn near killed me. I was calling out on Jesus and my mother. I had to let go of the wheel because my car was in such a spin. I couldn't control it, so I just let go. And anyways, that turned into an absolutely crazy story once they got me to the hotel. It was absolutely insane, but I thought they'd broken my back. These people were strapped in. They clearly hit me on purpose. Going 100 miles an hour, they totaled my car. The back end of my car was smushed up to the driver's seat. Everything was impacted. I could not get my clothes. Not that you couldn't pull anything out. It was impacted. And I'm lucky to be alive from that. So I got to a point where I just don't care if they follow me. If you want to waste your time following me and see me go to work and go into a store or whatever, have a good time. I mean, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your money and you're wasting your time. And it got to the point when they don't get the reaction they want, they don't get it from me anymore. It just slowed way down. I'm just telling you, it worked. So if you get to that point where you're sick and tired of it, give it a try.
And tell them what the dude did.
When they hit me with,
When they hit your car, you had to get a hotel, right?
yeah, they took me to the hospital. They wanted
No,
to.
don't say nothing.
Yeah, okay. But anyways, after I left, of course, there was a police officer waiting to take me to the hotel. Where did he come from? He just appeared and said, "I'm here to take you to the hotel." Well, I didn't ask anybody to take me to a hotel. He just was standing there waiting on me. So he drove me to the hotel. And then this guy appeared. I had a Black Ops helicopter flying over the hotel. This guy appeared. He said he was a contractor. He said there were two guys that pulled up, and he said, "They're here for you, Holly." And it looked like two FBI agents. And they checked into the room next to mine. And it just went on. And this guy brought a gun in, and he said, "Here, you need it? You want to use it?" I guess he wanted me to blow my brains out because,
Pardon language.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. But anyways, it was crazy. He clearly told me I'm a contractor. He said, "Look," he said, "I'm going to take you to get something to eat. I know you're starving." And he literally, I didn't care anymore. I let him take me to get some food. I was hungry. And he said, "Look, I've got cameras all over my truck." He said, "Nobody's coming near my vehicle. I promise you that." He said, and he was nice, but he wasn't at the same time. But I really didn't care. But the story just got crazy.
She's got some crazy stories, but I believe every one of them. And that's how they're so bold to do. They want to do the craziest stuff that nobody ever believed, and that's how they're bold enough to do it because nobody would ever believe it because nobody's got open minds no more. Oh, not reacting is your key. You're right. Yeah, A-Light, but wow. I get occasional twitches in the leg. Yeah, they make Holly's leg jump. I'm talking about jump. I could press down on it as hard as I could and it'll still jump sometimes. But we're fixing to get off here. You have crazier driver stalkers in your area than here. Here they have only tried to get me in fault accidents. People pass me extremely fast, but I never just been plowed into. Sorry you went through that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was horrible. I thought I was dead for sure.
When you have angels protecting you, Holly, we cannot live in fear.
Right. Thank you very much for that.
And actually, I'm glad I found out David channel so I can correlate my experience with all around the world. Good stuff.
Yeah, if anybody would like to give a testimony, please just email us and we'll get to you as soon as we possibly can. Again, I've been sick for a week or two, so it's been, hopefully I'm getting over it now, but, we'll definitely get back to you and get you scheduled.
And don't think this stuff's easy, and it's just easy as peasy, because like there's been a couple times this week I told Holly, I said, look, I just got to tell people on YouTube I'm fixing to get out of it all. It's too stressful. I just got to think of a speech to give and just back down and give up.
I say no.
You know,
no
sometimes
way.
I feel like that, because it's like, man, you can only reach certain people, and then sometimes you feel like you're not making a difference. And so don't think I don't battle. I battle hard with just giving everything up, but I would never do that. So don't read the back of my description. I would never give up. But sometimes I just tell Holly that, like, man, because, I'm trying to, I talked to somebody on the phone for 3 hours yesterday. Just, a lot of this stuff is stressful, trying to help others, and you're suffering at the same time. And then it gets just to be too much, because then people get mad because you don't call them. But if I called and stayed on the phone with everybody who needed help, then I would never sleep or nothing. I mean, so I try to spread it out and help as many people as I can, as far as listening to them and talking to them. God and Jesus are my help and comfort. This channel has helped me immensely. Bless you and Holly. Thank you. God and Jesus are real, and if they wasn't, I wouldn't be here right now. There's been too many close calls that I've miraculously made it to. Same with Holly. God's very real. Hope you guys feel better soon. You both should just rest. A couple of days off are needed. Yeah, a recharge is definitely needed.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we're trying to do that.
I feel normal hearing about things I couldn't explain.
Yeah, it's when you've got these crazy stories and you hear other people's stories, it really makes you feel a little more normal.
Martine Reed said, I like this format. It's like going to church for TIs. David, you can have a break to recuperate. It will be good for your well-being. Yes, it would. Could you both promote my StreamYard, because I have a mentally ill man that's doxing, trying to get me killed? What's your StreamYard? What's your StreamYard name? Yeah, well, see, we just know how it is, especially the first stage of this program. I didn't know I was a target when she puts her.
I'm waiting.
Okay, I didn't know I was a target. I was targeted from like 2012 and didn't find out till 2018. So you can imagine all the stuff I went through, thinking I was going crazy. They got me hearing my handler's voice in my ear everywhere I go. They're mind controlling me. I got to tell you the Springfield, Missouri story. But I really got to sit down and meditate and pull the story out.
Hang on, targeted by narcs.
Targeted by narcs.
Is the streamer.
StreamYard or YouTube?
Thank you, A-Light. Thank you. We appreciate you as well.
So what I was trying to say is, the reason I do all this is because, if I'd have known all this in 2012, what was going on, it would have helped me start learning the ins and outs of what's going on and what's happening to me, and it would have saved me a lot of hospitalizations from attempts on my life and stuff like that, which I would never kill myself again. I was so serious about trying to take myself out that 3 failed attempts, serious attempts, not no, oh, help me, I want some attention attempts. It got to where I was scared to do it because I was scared of failing. But I wouldn't do it now because I value my life, and that's what they want.
Targeted by narcs. It's YouTube, but it's a StreamYard.
Oh, okay, now I got it. So, targeted by narcs wanted me to mention her YouTube. She goes live sometimes. It's in StreamYard format.
StreamYard format. And let me mention this. I know we talked about it last week, but if you hear TIs trashing other people, other TIs, and you're on their page or whatever, make a comment and ask them to stop. It's nasty, it's uncalled for, and we should be combining together in numbers versus trying to hurt other people. And apparently this is continuing to go on with a certain individual who just will not stop. And
by all, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that. if you see anybody doing that, please ask them to stop. Stop doing that.
Is that 7 p.m. Eastern time today? You're truly a blessing. I'm from Switzerland. This program over here is ridiculous. What's worse is it's a much small country, which makes it even more difficult to avoid places. Yeah, I've heard Switzerland's bad. I think I've been getting triangulated and played with since early 2000. I agree, Holly. No nasty and negativity needed for TIs. Thank you very much. I will have mods. She said she'll have mods too. Is that 7 p.m. tonight Eastern? Was that tonight? I can't see.
Here it is. You just went by it. That's right. Here.
7 p.m. I'm thinking Targeted by Narcs is talking about 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight.
Tonight.
Space where other TIs can talk to each other.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
But
Targeted by Narc, 7 p.m. Eastern.
And we're fixing to go now. We thank everybody for coming out.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And hopefully we can continue doing this. Now, we do schedule female interviews on Sundays and Mondays. So if we have a female interview, we won't be doing a live. We'll just be doing an interview. But the weekends we don't have interviews, we'll be doing lives. And any ideas that you'd like me to do and stuff, just let me know. You can come back in the video after it's published and comment and leave comments too. Because I don't think I can see the live comments after we end it.
That's important.
Fake police officers came to my home. What happened yesterday in Minnesota freaked me out. Yes, us too. And yeah, we're ready for that if that happens.
Yeah, be careful because that was absolutely horrible what happened to that husband and wife in Minnesota. That was absolutely
Yes, it was
horrible.
Well, we're going to get off here. Happy Father's Day to any fathers out there listening right now. God bless America. Let's hope things get better and all this stuff we're seeing on YouTube and stuff is just theory and not going to happen. Let's pray that unity for targeted individuals, pray for justice for targeted individuals, and pray that each and every targeted individual, God shows them ways to deal with this program and manage with the sensitization and, and learn how to cope in everyday lives. If you do have evidence and are part of a lawsuit, we're all for that too. But we do recommend that instead of waiting on a lawsuit, waiting on this to end, to find ways to deal and cope with this yourself.
And y'all pray for Israel. They're getting pounded. So
Israel, whoever they may be, the 12 tribes scattered, or Israel as a nation, whichever one's the real Israel.
Yeah, we would like to pray for them and their safety.
All right. Well, bye. God